Hey everyone, in this video I want to show you my league starters. It's been a week around and I've played 4 different builds, so I want to share my experience with you. So I wanted to play Chieftain, and with Chieftain I had 3 different builds. One of them is not here, but the first one is Righteous Fire. I'm first going to tell you which builds I have. First one is Righteous Fire. The second one is Ignite Melee. The third one is Slam, and all of these are on Chieftain. And the last one is Ignite Elementalist. So this was the tankiest build of all, and maybe even, yeah, it's probably maybe the tankiest build that I ever had. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely very tanky, and it's the tankiest at this point. This is, I think, level 80 character, maybe 80 at 8 maximum. So not like especially high level. I, yeah, I think that this is level 80. So not very high level. And you can see that my clear is pretty decent because of the Righteous Fire. Here and there I get Explosion, and I also use Scorching Ray. The reason why I use Scorching Ray is first of all to improve my clear, second of all to improve my DPS, and third reason is because I don't have enough dexterity for Flame Trap, so I'm using Scorching Ray instead. And also another good reason is that it forces me to stay on the ground, and Chieftain has in ascendancy that if he stays on the ground, he will reduce enemy resistances to damage over time. So you get a lot of tankiness, you get a lot of maximum resistances, you scale the fire, and you are able to get not like 90 fire and maybe 86 or 84 other. And with this Chieftain Ascendancy, you improve it all to 90%, and you are very tanky against elemental damages. I have almost 7,000 health. I played this build a little bit more, and I go to 7,000 health, like level 87 or something like that. And the DPS is Righteous Fire has 40,000 DPS in 4 link, and then I have unique Scepter, which grants me level 25 Scorching Ray, and that is essentially 4 link with the level 25. And that Scorching Ray has about 100, a little bit over like 120,000 DPS, and I am not able, at least at this point, to get a maximum amount of stages, meaning that if I increase duration or cast it, I would have like almost 200,000 DPS. So overall, this build could potentially have like 250,000 DPS at base against bosses. And if you invest more into it, you can get Righteous Fire to like 800,000, but to get that, you need to scale levels, you need to get Awakened Gems, and that's going to be a lot of Divines. And in this league, I was able to acquire a lot of currency, like for Divines, and I was thinking what to do with it, and I didn't really want to invest into this character anymore. I thought that getting more damage would be not like allow me to run every single content I wanted. So I wanted different build with more focus on DPS, and which is maybe a little bit more currency sync. I just wanted to have more damage, and Righteous Fire isn't that easy to scale. So here is a single target DPS to a monster. It is decent, but nothing special. This is a relatively low level map, so it's going to be very close to the end of the showcase. You can see that I'm able to tank everything. I have 2000 base regen because of my 90% resistances. I have like 1000, 1500 net regen. And when I was doing like 75% less recovery or something like that, I was degenerating, but only a little bit. So I have a huge amount of extra regen, a huge amount of defensives, high armor, and yeah, it was very hard to kill me. So as I said, I don't have the Ignite Showcase here. This is the Slam build, which I played after. So this is the third build. I will leave in video description a link to someone playing actually Infernal Blow Ignite, but this is not the exact same variant because the person is not chieftain like me. It's MB Extreme. He did Ignite Elementalist. He was very hyped about it. But in the end, he kind of realized that it's not very like powerful. So I decided to go chieftain to be more tanky, and I have like 90% damage reduction if I stand on the ground. I have 90% all resistances again. I have the slam nodes. I have the ghost that like above me that hits sometimes. I have the fist of war, which essentially gives me six link in the time that I had only five link, and you can see that the damage is pretty huge. Um, I have like hundreds of thousand damage per hit. I have also impales and bleeding, so I'm dealing quite a lot of damage. Here is showcase of my defenses, and they are not that great. I don't have that much health, but I thought that if I have like 90% resistances and like 90% physical damage reduction to white monsters, I would be able to tank everything. But I just didn't have enough, and mostly I didn't have enough armor. And it's not really about armor because there are also sometimes monsters that just overwhelms your physical damage reduction. Expedition has sometimes modifiers that they just ignore your armor, so you are pretty much like 3000 HP warrior with very slow attacks, and the slow attacks are also a problem because it just takes a lot of time. It makes easier for enemies to hit you, and it also makes your clear slower. So the idea of slams is that you do one big slam and you multiply the damage by the intimidating cry, I think it's called, and the cry doubles your damage, and then you have there a few things that double your damage, and you are able to do a huge slams. But in reality, you are going to have to need a lot of defense to do that. And even though that you get a lot, I have like 90% to everything, except the fire, I mean the physical damage reduction, which is not that reliable. You can see that I'm absolutely being destroyed by these monsters. And I don't think that there is anything I can do. I can maybe get 6,000 health somehow, but I will have to sacrifice damage, and the damage is good right now, but it's not great. So I'm just feeling that I have too much problems. I have slow attack speed, and I cannot increase it too much because if I do under 1 second, that will be um, there will be some things that will reduce my damage on the other side. So I don't want to go under 1 second attack speed. Um, so yeah, it's quite slow, and even though that I invested quite a lot into defense, you can see that I'm getting absolutely demolished by some things. Also, some things just absolutely ignore your armor, like impales or bleedings. They just deal damage straight to your health. So in the end, yeah, the clear speed was bad, and even though that I invested a lot into defense, defense was also bad. You can see that I have like 11-second duration on a fortify, which has 21 stacks, and I have pretty much all the stacks all the time. And even through all of these defense, it's not that great. It's definitely higher than like Witch, especially against like the physical monster because I have some physical interaction. Uh, but I should be able to tank more because I'm melee with such slow attacks, and this just this just isn't good build enough. I think that there is problem with melee. There is too many damage mods in the game, and you are just not able to defend them all. Trying to actually stay alive with build that is supposed to take damage is quite hard, and you need to invest a lot into defense. And especially in softcore, it's just better to go more into damage and evade the damage rather than trying to not take it. So you can see how much damage I'm taking. I'm taking like, yeah, I can see a like 67% reduction without the aura. But the thing is with armor, the stronger hit, the more damage you take. And you can see that this enemy is absolutely demolishing me. So yeah, I after this character, I have decided to do Ignite Elementalist. I was playing Ignite Elementalist multiple times. I had at least two, maybe even three builds, so I kind of knew how to do it, and it was just much better. I was able to get almost 5k defense thanks to Mind Over Matter An energy shield combined with health. I have also the defense, ascendancy, which gives me almost 2000 elemental damage protection. I am ranged. I can just use one spell, and in this case, it's even vortex. So I just ignite everything very easily when I need to. I curse enemy with my Arcanist brand, and also do some other stuff with it. And I also have Val Flame Blast, which has absolutely huge ignites. You are going to see that here. So kind of how to summarize the builds. Uh, you can look at a video in background, but I will talk about the builds. Um, the Righteous Fire had great defense. The damage wasn't that good. I was able to scale it potentially into a few millions with very high investment, but I didn't feel that it was worth it. And also there was a lot of mobs that would counter me on max, like no regen, less recovery, negative maximum resistances. I would just not be able to do like 20% of the max. So I wanted something that is more reliable in this. And I went into Ignite, which did very poor single target damage. It had pretty good clear, but also, again, the problems with the melee defense. Um, and the single target was the biggest issue. Then I went into Slam to get more damage because there was much better tree for it, and I got way more damage. I had like 200,000 DPS, something like that. The melee ignite was like 30,000 DPS. It was terrible. So yeah, the slams was pretty decent, but the biggest issue was the melee defense, especially against the expeditions, the mobs that just ignore your armor. Uh, you are trying to scale armor to not take damage, and then you make your build around it, and then just enemy demolishes you. So that's not fun, and it's better just to go ranged. You still need to go build some defense, but you no longer need to be able to withstand everything. And then I went into the elementalist, as you can see. I just volk, everything dies. The damage is huge. I would say, like over 1 million DPS with the Val Flame Blast. It absolutely demolishes everything. I am ranged, the defense is good, the recovery is good. Um, yeah, it's pretty good. Clear speed is good. Also, this is the cheapest build of all of these. Well, maybe besides the Righteous Fire. The Righteous Fire was for like 50 chaos. This is maybe like 70 chaos, so it's still very cheap. Uh, so I will just do Metamorph and it will be the end of the video. So the short, to short the things or the summarize it kind of, uh, Elementalist with Ignite is very powerful. And melee builds are kind of at disadvantage because of how many damage modes you need to block with your defense. As range, you don't need to do that. Ignite OP.